Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Shield Hero, Season 4.
Yep, Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 7. Welcome back to the dojo. I'm Ryu. That's Age. We're back for more Anime Night in the Dojo, and we're back from our week hiatus. Age was feeling under the weather. Still not feeling great, but we're here, and I had some madness, so I wouldn't have been able to be here anyway. So luckily, our two things kind of coincided, but here we are. Back on schedule here. And yeah, we're in Cute and Low now, thankfully. But shenanigans occurred. They did the Titanic thing. So all is sort of kind of okay in the world, right? So it will be interesting to see if we get any more cryptic, super hyper vague messages from the water dragon. But probably not. It's just go do the thing. Yeah, we'll get right on that. So they got to figure some stuff out so the rest of the crew can actually arrive on all the shenanigans that they talked about last time. So yeah, that's where we're at. So it should be a thing. I'm sure there'll be several assassination attempts on Raphtalia if they figure out who she is, because they can't escape the side story of the side story. That's just where we're at, and it is what it is. There is not much we can do about it. So, not really a huge amount to say going into this one. We pretty much talked out everything last time. We just kind of got to see what's up with this country, what their deal is, what the red-haired woman that is clearly just pulling a long fang is doing, that kind of deal. Get more on her character, her motivations, all that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, side story of a side story, probably corrupt advisor, and everyone's royalty.
Yep, everyone's royalty, and my my sound file thing test is up on my face from that Discord icon. You can see over my face the little the little bow and arrow. So I will fix that before we go into the freaking reaction that it just stuck there. So I'll fix that. But yeah. When you test sounds and they just kind of stick there. When you use a sound effect in Discord and it just kind of shows the little like icon of it, and for whatever reason it's stuck on the screen right in front of my face. So I am Bow and Arrow Man today. Congratulations. But anyway, I'm gonna go fix that, but we'll get the timer stuff set up here while I'm fixing that for the reaction over on Patreon, and we'll see you on the other side of the edit for the review and discussion over here on YouTube. So here goes something. Well, alrighty then. I don't even know what to say about this anymore. Like, we just talked a little bit about it there at the end of the reaction of how, to me, the majority of this episode felt like an old school Power Rangers episode, maybe even new school. I haven't seen any of like the new seasons. I saw a couple of the episodes of like one of the newer seasons when the guy who played Tommy, like the original Green Ranger, came back. I saw a couple of those because he was in it, and he was always really cool. Real, rest in peace situation with that guy. It's really a shame we lost him as we did, because he was a great actor. But either way, the rest of this episode after this bit here, just fucking Power Rangers, man. Like I said at the end of the reaction stuff, I was just waiting for Zed or Rita or whoever to just, all right, now we're going to make the bear guy giant. We're going to have to fight him in a Megazord or something. We're going to form Voltron to beat him or something, whatever. But as we could see, the underlying situation in Cute and Low is in a really weird dystopian situation. And I made the, joke about how America is going in this direction. We could be like this in the next couple months and years. I'm being dead serious. I don't like talk a lot about politics and stuff on this channel, but this is the kind of shit that we're headed to in all reality. It's going to be just... it's really bad, man. It's just, you can see all the signs, and it's going to get to the point where it's just like, yeah, I don't want to get into that too much, but when you see stuff like this where you can't even like defend yourself from a monster in the street because the law says you can't kill another living being unless another monster does it, or something, in the case of Galleon being able to skirt the rules because he's a monster and he's, an emissary of the water dragon. So
But,
what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What
law,
kind of law is that? I can understand like a moratorium on fishing because you got to let the fish replenish or something or whatever. If there's like an endangered species, okay, fine. But you're being attacked by a monster. You could die, and you're not allowed to defend yourself. That's insane.
Yeah, the technicality is just that the law only applies to people. So monsters fighting each other is just considered to be a natural thing that they don't really care about. The only real reason there would potentially be repercussions is just the fact that if it's a tamed monster and it's ordered to.
Right.
Which is what they were originally perceiving the situation as. But then, the fact that Galleon has the Water Dragon's blessing means he's basically above reproach.
Right. Which leads to a whole other section of kind of politicky stuff, so yeah. But again, as far as we know, the Water Dragon is like the end-all be-all when it comes to authority out here. You know what I mean? It's like the local deity.
Yeah, the Emperor is their emperor, their leader, but the Water Dragon is their god.
Yep. So, I don't know. These kinds of situations, like we see stuff like this where, the police forces and authorities and stuff like that. We've seen plenty of stuff like this in fiction and in real life. It's always regrettable when it comes to stuff like this, when countries end up like going to these kinds of directions and stuff like that. We'll get to that guy later. That was something. But you always have situations like what was going on here with this guy. These kinds of people, without them, society collapses. So if you just suddenly just lop off, the bottom of a structure, guess what happens? It collapses. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're in a situation where you're literally taxing these people out of house and home, then that just means you're not getting more taxes next time around because they've lost everything.
Yep. And you lost the worker, and you've created a rebel. Congratulations. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science. So
yeah, it's a very minor increase to short-term gain for irreparable damage to your economy.
Yep.
And less taxes overall later down the road.
Yep.
As far as the old guy goes in the previous scene, though, I already suspected something was up with him when Sadina lightnings him, and he just does it's basically totally unfazed by it.
Right.
But yeah, it's revealed later that it was the blacksmith's master, who is presumably on the same level as him because they were both supposed to be adventurers.
Right. So
and we know the blacksmith guy's like in his 80s.
Yeah. So he's not small potatoes, so this master guy is probably not small potatoes either, but he's just kind of like playing the Master Roshi hard. Like he kind of went like full Moroku from Inuyasha, that kind of character. They're on the side of the hot chicks. I mean, there's a line for you.
Yeah, he's playing the fool. Like we even see later on when Atla pokes him, that he's basically just playing.
Yeah,
he's not actually freaking.
He was aware of what she was doing. Like, oh, she can do that. Okay, I'm gonna like full on just sell the hit. You know what I mean? Kind of to use like a wrestling term. It's like they sold the the RKO really well or whatever it is. So that's definitely what he was doing. But we got a little bit more on like Raftalia's family, stuff like that. I mean, again, we talked about it at the end of the reaction. This would have been better served as a Age mentioned it as like the Phoenix is coming here kind of thing, so we need to prepare them because they need to prepare the world again. Or we just beat the wave, yay, Raftalia was celebrating with a new outfit, and then this became a thing and they have to go deal with it while they're waiting for the next wave timer. Not putting the waves and the Guardian Beasts on hold for this kind of thing is, I just don't understand it. And once again, since I haven't read the source material, I can't speak on it. I don't know like what ordering we're going here for the anime, but I can't imagine they're going that out of order, that away from the actual source material. But who knows? When I was briefly going over the
the chapters titles and stuff like that. This is the same place.
Right.
It should be.
Yeah.
Just before the Phoenix. But yeah, that's just, I think, like the biggest friggin' flaw in the writing here is just that this is a totally aside thing that is distracting them from the main plot rather than being incorporated into the main plot. It should either be that they go here to try to get them on board fighting the waves because they're isolationist and haven't been helping, which could then lead into the whole discovering Raphtalia's family connections and stuff like that, rather than doing the whole weird Nico outfit thing. Or it be, if we're going to do this during the Spirit Beast, have it be, once again, that like this is where the Phoenix is going to show up and like say, what's her face, the Filolial Queen, I'm drawing a blank on her name all of a sudden, could like has some way to know that this is where the Phoenix is going to show up, but they don't know this is where the Phoenix is going to show up, so we have to go over there and warn them and get them ready, which leads into the Raphthalia stuff.
Yep. So
either of those would be massive improvements over doing it this way.
Yeah, because once again, the thing that drew me into this series was the waves, the implications of the other worlds. The Guardian Beasts were cool. And the implications for Isekai Quartet with them pulling all those series together into like a multiverse, and the waves potentially being like a major factor for what's going on with the Isekai Quartet storyline. But yeah, it's just, again, it is what it is. I will say, while it did feel like an episode of Power Rangers from here on out, I'm glad they just got this done in one episode and we're not planning to assault the lighthouse for the next 2 episodes or something like they did with the stuff in Cute and Low. So, or Silk Belt, sorry. But it's...
Yeah, we got in here, we got the party back together, and we have a base of operations now for
so
going
cool
into the actual story.
Yeah, so great. Hopefully the next parts will be, figuring out what's going on with the, Puppet Emperor stuff, and then dealing with it, and then the, last bit of the season will be the Phoenix stuff and whatever. So hopefully we're only here for another episode or 2, honestly. Yeah, once again, it's not terrible, but it's just one of those things where I hate to use the phrase "I don't care," but because of everything we just talked about, I don't care because it's taking away from the part of the series that's actually interesting, just from an objective standpoint. You know what I mean? This would be fine, if not for the placement. It's this kind of thing. Yeah, we can go do an aside while we're waiting for the next wave. Whatever. We could have done this, like Age said, with like preparing them for the Phoenix, sure, but
well, yeah, like it's not just necessarily positioning, it's context. Once again, like this could be, this is the story arc directly before the Phoenix happens. It could still be the story arc directly before the Phoenix happens. It's just given a lead into the Phoenix rather than making it be a sidetrack from the Phoenix. A big part is staying on focus in your story. When you're doing stuff that seems totally unrelated to the story, it detracts from the story.
Yep.
And right now, this is such an isolated thing, it's just detracting from the story rather than continuing the story.
Right. So, it is what it is. We had some of the power balancing, scaling, that kind of thing. We had the bear guy. I guess these guys didn't... it looked like the classic, they sacrificed themselves to consolidate power, but I think they just kind of, started... Sedina said something about their sharing life force, so they didn't die, they just kind of, knocked themselves out to share their, blessing or whatever. So that was cool, but...
Yeah, basically what happened was that they all merged their life force into a single being, this being the captain. So they all got knocked out, but any sort of injury happening to him while they were in the blessing is distributed amongst everyone because it's all of the same life force.
Right. So either way, fight sequence was reasonable enough. We got Ku, the old guy tossing Naofumi the Sakura Emperor Stone Shield, which allows him to pseudo bypass their barrier spell shit. So that's interesting. That might have implications in the future, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the Sakura Stone is supposed to, suppress the spirit weapons but apparently it's not really able to affect itself. So if the spirit weapon is imbued with Sakura Stone, then it can't fully suppress it.
Right. And we did get a little bit of just like side lore on what's going on in this country there at the beginning when they were talking about the Sakura Lumina being like a material for stuff. So one would assume that the Sakura Stone that's around here also has special properties, just like the trees do. So okay, I mean, a little glossed over, but we got it. That's interesting. So there's another like tool for an Alphamese kit going forward. I'm glad they're still doing the HUD stuff. I'm glad that's still there. That'd be another thing I'd be complaining about if we didn't get to see these things, because this was a major selling point for a lot of this stuff. So I'm glad they're still doing it.
Atla's level 42 now.
Yeah. I don't know. I have not had time to go back and look to see what level she was fighting the Emperor Dragon, by the way.
Yeah, once again, I'm pretty sure she was 38 fighting the Emperor Dragon. But then we have her at 37 fighting the Minotaur, and now she's mysteriously gained 5 levels when all they did was ride on the boat.
Yeah. I don't know. Everything else is the same. Naofumi's been 78, Raftalia's been 81, Fiola's been 57, Sedina's been 74. I know we saw Full get to 51. I don't know if we've ever seen Galleon's level. He's 65. But it's whatever. You know what I mean? I'm just glad they're doing it. So if anybody has the actual numbering and stuff like that, then yeah, feel free to let us know. But if this is accurate or not. But yeah.
Fila was in the 70s before the dragon incident, but once again, she lost a bunch of levels to the dragon.
Yep. So either way, it's important to be on the side of the hot chicks, right? We've come to this, which you had to figure that there was something up with this guy because, like Age said, when Sedina zaps him with her chain lightning, he basically just sells it like a WWE. You know what I mean? You could tell
goes
like,
up,
he didn't get murdered by it. Like if this was just like supposed to be like an average citizen, like the guy who was getting unfairly taxed and having all his stuff taken from him, he would have been like, you know, a pile of like burnt ash. You know what I mean?
Well, once again, she was just trying to basically tase him, not actually kill him or anything.
Well, yeah.
So it was clearly not a full power one, but at the same time, it was very clear that like he was totally unfazed by it. Actually, like he didn't even barely look like kind of scuffed by it, but he just kind of throws himself on the ground anyway.
Right. And as you know, previously mentioned, if he's the blacksmith guy's mentor and the blacksmith guy got to level 80, one would assume that this guy is at least level 80. So he's not really a slouch, obviously. So it will be interesting to see what the deal is with him outside of being a very big-time womanizer, that kind of thing. But those characters are always what they are. You know, Master Roshi was one of the originals, and his spirit lives on in every other character like it.
Yeah, he's clearly someone of at least some affluence here because of the fact that he has access to a Sakura Stone.
And he was inside the freaking, like, lighthouse fortress. The garrison. So, obviously, he's not just walking in there just for nothing, you know? So, and he was called a traitor, so they knew who he was.
Yeah, he either infiltrated while they were fighting, or he was just already there, knowing that they were going to come here.
Yep. So, either way, that should be a thing. You know, him selling the moves, stuff like that. And no, in case anybody's wondering, this is not a harem. Not at all. Don't know what her deal is, why she showed up and she's so attached to Naofumi all of a sudden, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, we never really got any sort of significant attachment between her and Naofumi the way we have for like Atla or Raphtalia or whatever. Though the only one that is like straight up romantic at the moment is Raphtalia. But once again, he still sees her as more of a daughter. Like Atla's shown signs of wanting to potentially be romantic, but also once again she's pretty thoroughly daughter zoned, and she herself hasn't really like committed to anything like that yet.
Right.
Like Raftalia is like genuinely trying to get Naofumi to see her that way.
Yep. So don't know what this was about. She's just been kind of around with her the fact that like she's, you know, from another world and she can't speak properly because of the thing that's going on with her. But she's just been kind of like thankful for their help and stuff like that. Like, hey, yeah, I'll help you guys out, whatever. But this is like the first
She's
time
from a
of, like,
dead world.
Yeah, she's from one of the dead worlds, right?
She's from a dead world, and something about what happens when the world is destroyed is why she can't speak properly. Because like something basically like our best guess was that something happened where like even just like the information about that world got erased.
Right. So either way, I'm glad this is being pseudo fast tracked. Glad this didn't get drug out, even if it felt like an episode of Power Rangers, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Cool stuff happens in those episodes, and cool stuff happened in this episode. You know, flashy moves; those are always fun. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Get the weird old pervert blacksmith, because why not? So we'll probably get more on him. Now from you got a new shield that has some pretty neat implications. Alrighty then. And yeah.
We got some sort of backstory to Sedina, which we didn't really have anything for her, apart from just the fact that she was from here. But apparently she's the former Miko for the Water Dragon.
Right. So everybody's important. Got it.
Well, we knew she was a fairly big deal. We just didn't have any actual like connection to what her backstory was.
Right.
And for the Raftalia stuff, yeah, we didn't really have any sort of significant backstory for her either. Basically, all we had was just that her parents were from here. They left for some reason, and then got killed by the slavers, and she got taken into slavery.
Right. Which, that strange credulity, to quote Mimir from God of War, because if they were this big of a deal in this country, those must have been some pretty serious slavers, or they must have been supremely debuffed or something to get taken out. Maybe they weren't fighters or something, they were just major diplomats or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't really...
To keep using God of War, all the pieces aren't welding together true.
Yeah, like, we don't really know enough about them as of yet. We just know that they are part of the royal family here. That's apparently all of the Tanuki folk are. That's just like the family clan is the Tanuki people. But yeah, it seemed like the dad got framed for like the murder of a family member or something like that and had to leave. And then some point after he left, him and the wife got murdered by the slavers, and Raftalia got taken into slavery.
Right. So, at some point, those pieces may or may not weld together true. Or we're just not going to care about it. So, yeah.
One thing that also is worth noting is we don't know if Raftalia was born here or after he left, and we don't know if the mother's from here. Because the only thing that's really mentioned is just the father being here and from the clan. So
right.
The mother could be human, the mother could be some other one of the Tanuki folk who left with him. We don't know.
Right. So if you're going to do a side story, man, I hope you give us all the information. But again, if it's in source material and it's not here, can't speak on it. Don't know. Check it out at some point in the future when I have time. I'm making attempts, but you know, life keeps getting in the way as per usual. So, yeah, this was what it was. Glad we're already set up the base and we've dealt with this situation in one episode. Great. I'll give them that. So, yeah. But the logistics of this whole situation is just not great. So, that's all I got for this week. So, you got anything else, Age?
Drawing a blank on this character's name, but the Otherworld Urchin is a very big deal from what we've seen. So her being here is a big deal because she's not only very strong, even though we haven't actually seen her level, but she doesn't use a spirit weapon, so she can't be suppressed.
Right.
So,
and apparently she can teleport. I don't know if we knew that before. I don't remember.
She was one of the, from what we know, she was one of the vassal wielders from her world, which that's like an innate power to the spirit weapons and stuff like that. She just doesn't have her spirit weapon anymore, from what I remember correctly, because when her world got destroyed, so does the spirit weapons of that world.
Right.
I could be misremembering that though.
Yeah, I don't remember that specific. So,
but presumably that's just where she has the teleporting power. Is just she has the same recall ability that freaking Naofumi does. Because whether or not she has the spirit weapon anymore or not, she probably just kept that innate ability.
Right. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond whoever watching, we always appreciate you stopping by and hanging with us here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the dojo. And this was Shield Hero, Season 4, Episode 7. So, have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hey everyone, Victoria here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider pushing those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again in the future.